Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the start of the 2021 season. Back again in the sprints. This is going to be heat number 1 of 3. Not the best start to the day if I'm honest, starting P15. I would have liked to start off the season with a nice easy front row, but here we have it. It's going to be a tricky heat. We've got some fast guys in this one. We've got Matt Horgan starting on pole, Mark Ridout sharing the front row with him, Matt Wildman right at the front. He worked rapid yesterday in the endurance racing, so we need to get to the front quite quickly. We've got Dave Pethers starting just ahead. He's normally quite quick as well, so I don't mind pushing him through, see if we can make a few places. Now coming to the start, I'm going to be stuck all over his bumper, Dave's bumper. You're actually quite a bit of a late getaway, which I wasn't really expecting, but also when you're this far back, there tends to be a bit of a melee at the start. I don't really want to get involved in too much. I just nudged Dave through there. It's actually not the best few corners for me at the minute. I haven't made a place up yet. And coming out of the chicane, I do kind of get like a bit boxed in, so I'm just going to push Dave through to make a couple of places there. Help him into the hairpin, not too much, but he actually gets stuck on Steve Linley there, so I'll take that. I'm up to P11 now. So all in all, it's actually not been a bad few first corners, considering that I didn't really make anything until the hairpin. Now we're going to have a good run on this guy here, straight up the inside, coming into the final corners. Up to P10, that's 5 places. It's not a bad first lap, but I also need to be thinking about what the top guys are going to be doing this heat, because they're going to be right at the front already. Now coming to turn 1, my man here, he goes for a bit of a late one and actually takes him out. So whilst he's giving himself a bit of a telling off, I'm going to slide at the inside of the pair of them. P8, just after the start of lap 2, so run for a decent result here. I think if we can get to P3, I'll be happy with that. Now the guy ahead looks a bit shaky, looking around, and he gets a little bit leery there. And I try and sneak up the inside. I don't know if that was me being a bit ambitious, or did he have his blinkers on, I'm not too sure. Either way, it's cost us both a bit of time there, which isn't really ideal for me. I need to be getting on the back of the likes of Matt Wildman, Mark Ridout in this one, if I want any chance of winning. So we come down to the first corner. I think he thought that I were going to go for a move there and just ran it a little bit deep all on his own, which I'll take. A free position's a free position, so P7. Now we've got a bit of a gap to like the leaders. You can just see them just over the hairpin there. I'm actually pretty sure that Matt Wildman's actually already got to the front. I've got some work to do. Now the guys ahead are battling. That's Lenny Wood. I'm not sure who the other guy is actually, but them two battling, that'll do me just nicely. Gives me a chance to close up them quite quickly. Clay Pigeon's a bit of a naughty track for slipstream. I think if you're anywhere within like a second of somebody, you'll find it incredibly difficult to pull away. And likewise, if you're coming through the pack and you're anywhere near somebody, the slipstream effect's going to be quite massive. As I come out of the chicane now, I've got quite a good run. So you'll notice already like how much you can close up just with this slipstream. It was a very windy day as well, so I close up massively into that hairpin. I could have probably gone for a move into the boot here, but it's not really worth hampering yourself on a corner exit, because the guy ahead, he's there for the taking as well, so I don't really want to drop away from him too quickly. As you notice, I get really early on the throttle there. I actually give Lenny a bit of a bump, so I want him to kind of make a move. A classic move of the weekend was the undercut into turn 1, as Lenny's going to try around the outside. I'm late on the brakes, nice undercut, and we'll get 2 for the price of 1 there, so happy days. So we're up to P5. We've still got 6 laps to go here as well, so there's plenty of opportunity to try and potentially fight for a podium. I think from P15, that's all you can really hope for. Trying to win a race in there is normally really difficult. So we're going to fast forward there to the end of lap 7, start of lap 8. Now the guy ahead of me is Matt Horgan. He actually started this race on pole, I believe. He were rapid yesterday in the sprint 60 races, so I'm a bit shocked that he's actually dropped down to 4th. Maybe his kart won't what he wanted, he wasn't getting on with it or something, I'm not too sure, but we've got Matt Horgan just ahead, and we've also got Matt Ridout just ahead of him as well, so it's looking good that we might actually have a potential for some sort of podium result here if we can get it. So coming through the final corner, just try and get a nice decent exit, which I do, and it gets a little bit sideways on the entry of the corner, but his actual exit wasn't too bad. His kart seems like it's got some decent top ends. Nice and late on the brakes into turn 1, we closed up quite a bit there. His mid-corner speed probably wasn't as high. Again, whether he's not happy with his kart or not, I'm not too sure. He was decent through the chicane though, so we don't really have much of a chance. We could probably go for a dive bomb into the hairpin, but Again, I don't want to lose too much time because we're chasing Mark Reed out as well. So we get a decent exit out of the hairpin. So coming into the boot, we're going to get a decent exit again. He does run slightly wide, which is going to open the door for us just to try and get a sneaky move coming into the final corner. This is always a bit risky though, but we're going to go late on the brakes. He sees us, gives us enough space. It's always a risky one, is that you're putting a lot of trust in the person ahead that they're actually going to leave you some space, because it's very easy to turn in and it'll look like a bit of a dive bomb or a bit of a punt on my behalf. We've got 2 laps left. We're going to see if we can close Mark Reed out down, see if we can try and get a 3rd place, like I say, from P15. I'd be buzzing with that, to be quite honest. As you can see, just looking across there, Matt Wildman, he's gone. There were no chance of catching him. I think I had maybe a 10th and a half on him by the end of the race, so the times were really close. I needed to make some moves very early on to even have a chance of challenging him. I think he started 6th or something like that, so that were always going to be very difficult to try and catch him. So we're going to come on to the final lap now, and I actually think Mark Ridout's actually in striking range here. Like I say, the slipstream is quite big, so if I've got any chance of getting even near to it, might actually be worth a go. As we close up quite a bit coming through the chicane, he's going to check over. He knows that he doesn't need to defend. We're coming to the hairpin, we do close up quite a bit again. He does get a decent exit. Now it's all about what I can do coming out of the boot section here, see if I can get close enough, and he keeps it nice and tidy. He'd take some sort of lunge from here to try and take 3rd place, but I can't be too angry. Like I say, we've come from 15th up to 4th. It's not the best. I do try and aim for a podium each time, especially considering, you know, all these other heats that we've got going on. Anwar's racing again this season. He's going to be hard to beat, and he's probably going to be aiming for the same podium in every heat. It's not a bad start to the day. That's his worst start out of the way, so not too disappointed there. We'll have to wait and see what we can do in the 2nd heat. Here we have the start of the 2nd heat. This was my best start of the day when I started this one in P3. Again, it's a bit of a tricky heat, to be perfectly honest. We've got some quick drivers in this again. We've got Ollie Moss there, just at the side of me, starting 4th. Matt Wildman's in this heat. It's kind of a role reversal between me and him. I think he's starting this one in 15th, so we'll see how far he can get up the field. And directly behind me, I've got Richard Allen, who was very fast around this track. He's lost a bit of weight as well. He was actually running overweight, so he's lost a bit of weight. So he's fast now as well. He was fast before, he's even faster now. So let's see if we can try and get win number 1 of the day. And as we come to start, I'm just all over this guy. I want him to actually go early so that I can get a jump on 2nd, which he kind of does, to be fair, and we do get a jump on 2nd place. It's not really worth going for a move on him. I don't actually get hit coming into the 1st corner, and suddenly emerges Richard Allen. I don't think it rimmed that hit me, I think it was just a Constantina effect. Coming through a chicane, he gets it all a bit sideways, and he's looking the wrong way, so I'm going down the inside, but I managed to squeeze past anyway. So a very productive first lap, 3rd to 1st. We just need to see now if we can pull away, try and see if I can just try and make this boring, really. I'd like to just try and get a nice win under my belt without having to worry too much about what's going on. As we come around the final corner now, like I say, productive lap 1. Let's just get his head down and try and pull away. One thing I did notice about this car as the race went on was that the understeer around right-hand corners were quite bad, which on a clockwise circuit isn't really the best. I have to lift through the chicane, which again isn't really ideal if I'm perfectly honest. Now at this point I've actually got a bit of a train of karts behind me. I know it's only the start of lap 2, but we've got Richard Allen, Ollie Moss, and I think there might have been someone else in 4th, or he might have come into it a little bit later on, but we'll see how that pans out. All I'm trying to do at the minute is just try and keep it nice and tidy, try and get out of this slipstream if I can, but as we see there, the understeer kind of kicks in and I run wide. I actually get a warning for that as well, which is not ideal. 2 of them and you get a penalty. Now as we come down to turn 1, again, Richard Allen didn't actually even touch me there. I just ran wide on my own. The understeer were quite bad, but at this point I'm just happy to push in, see if we can try and build a gap to 3rd place, try and break the toe, and we'll try and battle this out between us afterwards. Now as we come into the boot section, he's actually already pulled a couple of kart lengths. I'm not too worried about that. My kart kind of comes on a little bit later on. Whether the pressures were a little bit high and it took a little bit longer to come on, I'm not too sure, but we come out of the final corner. I'm not in a bad position here. Yeah, alright, I've lost the lead, but we're only coming on to lap number 3 and the leader's right in front of me, so it's definitely slow to play for. Now you'll notice coming to the first corner, he just pulls away so much there. I just can't get the power on without the front end just washing out, and again, lifting through the chicane. So it's not really ideal at this point. I do close in him quite a bit coming into the hairpin. Just give him a little bit of a tap there, nothing malicious about it. He doesn't run wide or anything. He takes a glance over and he actually defends. Like I say, at this point I'm willing to just push him. Let's just try and get away as I do there. You can't see it from this angle just yet, but I have Ollie Moss sat right on my bumper, and I think if I don't make a move soon, he might. We can't really pull away from him, and the guy in 4th place, he's starting to close up as well. So as we round on to lap number 4, we're gonna lose a bit of time going through the first corner, and the lift going through the chicane, but I do actually get an half decent run. He's going to check over his shoulder, and at this point I'm just ready to go for the move. So we're going to go up the inside, and you're going to see now just how close Ollie Moss is. So he's going to go for the cutback, but coming into a left-handed corner, he's on the outside. So Richard Allen's going to have that one. I am hoping that these two will just battle between themselves so that I can try and break away. Like I say, the guy in 4th place, he's hunting us down as well, which I think it might have actually been Matt Wildman. Like I say, he's come from 15th on the grid, he's having a bit of a storm of a race. I think he actually got fastest lap as well, he were pretty fast there. Now, I did actually notice coming into the first corner, the only way that I could get it was just a really narrow exit, stop any sort of undercuts, but at the same time it kind of compromised you down to here, as I'm going to have to go defensive. Richard Allen's going to go for the cutback. Now again, I'm not too worried about a cutback into there. I've got the inside line coming to the next corner. And all this is doing is just backing everyone up into each other, so that hopefully they can battle and I can try and get away and make it boring if I can. Like I was saying earlier, if I run wide again, get another warning, I'll get a penalty, and I think that's just a place penalty, so you don't just want to throw it away on your own. The pressure is high though, like you can just see Richard Allen there. I'm not going to, he does try and get up the inside onto the exit of turn 1, but I fell for it once, I can't fall for it again. But I am going to have to go defensive down to the hairpin again. So there's quite a bit of pressure here, and you just saw Ollie Moss as well, so it is literally just a train. You just saw 4th place as well there with a white helmet. Or it's silver one, it might be Matt Wildman's silver helmet, I'm not too sure, but there's definitely a bit of a trolley train going on my behalf. So we're going to come and go, we do go a little bit defensive into the final corner. It's a bit of a risky one because they can kind of catch you by surprise there, and we're actually going to have to go defensive down the start-finish straight as well. So this isn't turning out to be an easy race by any means, to be honest. I were hoping that starting P3 I could just run away with it. Again, I'm still having to lift into the chicane just because of the understeer, but I'm not having to defend coming down into the hairpin now. I've actually built, I wouldn't say I've built a gap, I've probably got a couple of kart lengths, if that, but it just means that whilst they're battling, I'm going to try and get away. So all these next few laps are going to be is try and keep it smooth, don't make a mistake. Hopefully they battle and I can try and run into the distance. The kart is starting to feel a little bit better, it's still a bit understeery, still having to lift, but it's kind of workable. There's nothing much you can do right now, you've literally just got to go with it. And as we come down to the hairpin, you'll notice we've just got a bit of a gap there. That's to 2nd place, so we've got, what, maybe 5 kart lengths there, but that's just enough to play with, just to see us through. As we fast forward to the last lap, that was just enough to see us through to the end. The gap never got massive. I think it ended up being about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds that I won by, but it's nice to get the first win under his belt. Plenty of people with fast top drivers, they've won their first heat, so I needed that win really after only getting 4th in the first one. So here we are for the start number 3. Starting this one in P number 6, so this isn't actually a bad starting grid. Again, quite a difficult heat to be perfectly honest. Got Matt Wildman in this one. I've been stricken with him for like every heat today. He's going to start this one in P number 3 as well. So this should be a nice close heat. We're going to actually be on the outside this time as well, which isn't really ideal for this track, but we'll try and make the most of it. I think on the front row we had Johnny, Elliott, and I'm not sure that is on the front row actually. I'm not sure who the guy is, but is it Mike Bodner? Might be Mike Bodner actually. But anyway, we're going to come up to the start. Again, it is actually, we get a really good start, but then Johnny actually realised he was going to jump the start, so we had to actually go on the brakes. So now my entire row is just completely hampered. Now it's a bit argy-bargy. Again, I'm on the outside, so there's not really much I can do about it. Not the best first two corners, didn't even make a place, but we didn't lose any, so it could be worse basically. Now he's going to actually go defensive coming into the first corner. And we're going to slide at the inside of the pair of them. I'm going to glance over at Johnny now and say, come on, let's go. He's in agreement, let's go. Now, I didn't do myself any favours here. He goes up the inside, completely runs me out of road, fair play. And I actually nearly get done around the outside as well, so I do actually get him back. I've made a place in one lap. This kart was very, very fast though. And I already knew this by this point. I could tell the top end was just unbelievable, so it's not over yet, with Law to play for. Now he's going to run in a little bit hot on the brakes there. We're going to get the undercut on him. We didn't really have enough undercut to get past Johnny. Wasn't really worth the risk of a dive onto the chicane. Now as we come down to the hairpin, we're going to close up on Johnny quite a bit. I get nice and early on the power. He's going to run a little bit wide, and I'm just going to take this opportunity to slide straight up the inside. He sees me, gives me room, so fair play to him. I think he knew that probably wasn't the battle that he was in there, and he's probably more than happy to try and follow me through, see if we can try and catch the front two up. So as we come around the final corner, the start of lap number 3, I think it's Matt Wildman's already broken off into the lead now, so we need to try and make a bit of time up quite quickly if we can. I don't really want him pulling away too much. We've only got 10 laps, and at a 41 second lap, that soon goes quickly. So ahead of us we've got Mike Bodner. It was Mike Bodner who started on pole as well, so we're going to try and close him down, try and get past him as quickly as we can and get onto Matt Wellman's tail. As we come through the boot, we've caught up quite a bit already, even in just half a lap. And as you can see, the slipstream again were massive, but the top end on this motor were just unbelievable. As we get a decent run coming out of the final corner, he sees me, and I'm just going to slide that one straight up the inside. And he don't fight it, which, fair play. I thought maybe he's going to hold it on the inside, see if he can try and hold on to the position, but again, I think he probably thought better of it. I think it were inevitable that I was going to get past just because of how fast this kart was. I think again, he don't want to hamper himself too much. He's in a good position to hold on to a podium possibly, so. Now as we come out of the boot, we've already closed a few kart lengths on Matt Wildman here, so I am quite confident at this point that I can make this into another win if we can. I think me and Matt Wildman at this point have the exact same results. He had a 4th and a win, and I've had a 4th and a win, so the battle for the final grid position is kind of between us two at the minute. If I beat him, I'll start ahead of him, and obviously vice versa, so there's a lot to play for here. So I don't think he's going to make it too easy for me, but I am catching him quite quickly, so hopefully he won't be able to defend it too much. Again, it was just so strong coming out of that hairpin, and out of the boot, it was just the run that you could get on people were just unbelievable. Like I said, the toes kind of exaggerating a little bit, like the headwind was coming into you at this point here into the final corner. Anything coming into the final corner or out of the chicane, you were just gaining loads, but at this point, I think he's taken a glance over and thought, he's behind me already, which is good for me. Pile a little bit of pressure on, see if we can try and make a move early doors, catch him off guard. He's probably not going to think that I'm right behind him at this point, because we get a decent run. And the top end there is just massive. We're throwing the inside. Again, he's going to go for the cutback, but like I've said before, I've got the inside for the next corner, so I'm not worried too much. You don't really need to defend it overly hard there. It's difficult to get an uppercut coming out of the boot. So as we end lap number 6, let's see if we can put a few qualifying laps together, see if we can try and break away, try and make this one dull. I haven't had a dull race yet, so I won't mind one. Coming through the first corner, again this car was just on rails, like it were. I think this was the first lap of the day that broke into the 40s, I think it was a 40.9 with this, so it was going to be nice and boring. as we fast forward coming on to the final lap. I actually think this was my fastest lap of the heat, my last lap. Like I say, it's just on rails through the first corner, barely any lift at all going through the chicane, and it's just mega fast. Handles so well, this car. It was like, I mean, as you can see there, in 5 laps I'd pulled maybe 4 kart lengths, which whilst he's sat in my toe is a decent amount. It wasn't like a massive win. I think it ended up being 1.5 seconds that I won by, but it's enough to try and break the toe. I think anything out of like a second range, then you're looking good for it. So I'm definitely starting ahead of Matt Wildman for the final, but it all depends on what everyone else has done. So let's see if 2 wins and a 4th is good enough to get on pole position. As he comes round, I'm just going to give him a little fist bump. He's had a great day today. He's in contention to possibly win the final. So just before we get into the final, I'm just going to go over and just make sure that Anwar's kart's nice and slow, let some pressures out of tyres, loosen carb up just to make sure that it's not working. So he's just going to come over and turn the camera off. Nah, I'm only kidding. I just like to try and psych him out a little bit sometimes. So here we have the start of the final. As you'll notice, I'm not on pole position. That went to Anwar. He had 2 firsts and a 3rd compared to my 2 firsts and a 4th, so it were incredibly close. It were Anwar on pole, myself on 2nd, Matt Wildman 3rd, Adam Wright 4th, Alex Pritchard 5th, and Miguel Hall in 6th. So it's going to be a decent final. It should be very close, to be fair. Coming to the start, again, being on the outside here is just not ideal. You can just get swamped on the inside, so I'm just going to try and get as close to him as I can going over the line. If I can try and hold 2nd round the outside, that'll be ideal. So I'm just watching his foot. When he goes, I'm going to go. So I did actually get a very good start. I actually get ahead coming into the first corner, but obviously, like I said, I'm on the outside, and now Matt Wildman's on the inside. It's just not worth going side by side with him. You know, we have no idea how fast each other's karts are at this point, so Anwar could have a rocket. I don't need to get away. I'm more than happy to just settle back into 3rd, and I'll assess it as I'm going along. If I think I'm quick enough, then I'll go for the move, and we'll just play it by ear. So as we exit the boot, it's all nice and tight. Adam Wright's right behind me, so I think the top 4 at this point, we might have just slightly broken away. I think everyone else were battling a little bit, so the top 4 at this point are trying to break away. Now, I get a really good exit. And again, this car had such good top end. There's actually a bit of lean burn there, which just entitles me to go straight up the inside of Matt Wildman. He sees me a little bit late, but we don't make any contact, so fair play to him. He could just carry on turning, and he didn't. He actually get me in the room. And I'm actually saying to him now, come on, let's go, let's try and catch Anwar. I don't know if them two actually share the same team now on a Saturday. El Bandito, I think they're called. Something like that anyway. So I think them two might be, I don't know if they're going to team up. I don't think they'll do that. At the end of the day, the Sunday racing is a complete solo event. You want to win it for yourself, not for your team. So I think he'll be more than happy to push me up to the back of Anwar and see if we can try and break away. Now, coming down the straight, we are going to close up a few kart lengths. Like I said, the wind, I think it actually picked up for the final. Like, I think it was actually windier, so you're going to see probably more of an effect now. And as we come out of the chicane, again, I'm going to get a decent run on him. He's getting his head down. He's trying to pull away, but trying to get out of the tow here, it's just going to be very, very difficult. Now, for anyone that didn't see the move that I did on Anwar yesterday in the Enduro, the final corner, the last lap that we're coming up to, I will put a video up of that. But this is kind of like a complete polar opposite. So as it comes in, he said that his tyres won't really up to temperature, which, to be fair, it does look like that. It just kind of like goes wide on his own, but he does get a good run back as well. Like, his kart's some decent top end there, but I've got the inside covered now, so I don't have to worry too much there. Straight up the inside, and we're going to we're going to make a little bit of a gap as we just come down to the hairpin. So at this point, I think the running order is me, Anwar, Matt Wildman, and Adam Wright. Again, all quite tightly compact. I wouldn't mind trying to get away. I felt like Matt Wildman actually quite quick in this particular final, and he has been all day, but in this final we're quite quick as well. So if Anwar could kind of hold him up whilst he's struggling to get his tyres up to temperature, I can try and make some light between us, try and build a slight gap if I can, just so that maybe if Matt Wildman does go up into second, he doesn't really have the slipstream on me. So we're only 3 laps in. Like I say, it's quite a long final, this 18 laps, but again, we were only, well, a few of us actually did do 40 seconds in this final. So the times were coming down. I think we're actually only about 4/10 off the fastest lightweight, which is quite mad considering that we're carrying like, what, I think 12, 15 kilos more than them. So I think if we lost some timber, we might actually be able to battle with those guys. So I'm just going to fast forward now, because thankfully I did actually get my wish of a boring race. It was in the final, which is when it matters most. So we're coming to the final lap. I did actually do the fastest lap of the weekend of us lot, which were 40.872, which, I mean, that's a mega lap, to be fair. Obviously the kart helped, but as we're coming to the hairpin, the gap, it were quite large at this point. That's Matt Wildman in second. He did manage to get past Anwar, but I think it was a little bit too late, so I did actually end up winning this one by like 5 seconds, but I think that were kind of exaggerated just because Anwar was defending. Adam Wright were attacking him as well, so they had a bit of like a sandwich kind of thing going on, so they lost a bit of time just through battling. But it's nice to start off the season with a win, back where we left off. I couldn't really ask for any more than that. It's going to be a tight championship this year. I mean, if Matt Wildman's like this all season, he'll be well up there, so will Anwar, and obviously Adam Wright as always. I mean, he came fourth, he could have easily had third. I think he had a little bit of a nibble at Anwar near the end, but didn't quite make it stick, so this is going to be a tight season, a very, very tight season, I think. I'll just give everyone a thumbs up. Well done to Matt Wildman, P2 there. I think that's his first podium as well, so he's done mega. He's going to be one to beat this year, but we'll see what we can do for the rest of the season, see if we can carry on getting some wins, try and retain the championship if we can, but yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Give it a like, subscribe as always. Thank you.